Motion pictures, can't get enough. Cinephile, movie lover, and a big movie buff. Talking to actors, directors, innovators, athletes to writers, real trailblazers. Yeah, originator, not a duplicator. So honest, always authentic. Tune in, trust me, you don't want to miss it. This is the Monday Morning Critic. Amazing life journeys, great interviews from sports analysts, even reporters too. Captivating, always top content, bringing top quality. Everybody's talking. Yeah, originator, not a duplicator. So passionate and so authentic. Tune in, trust me, you don't want to miss it. This is the Monday Morning Critic. Woo!
Village Police Department.
Yeah, hi, look, I'm calling from Paris. I have a son who's home alone.
Our phones there are out of order, so I'd like somebody to go over to our house, tell him that we're coming home to get him.
Okay, let me connect you with Family Crisis Intervention.
No, it's not a family crisis.
Hold on. Larry, can you pick up? There's some lady on hold, sounds kind of hyper.
What line, Rose?
2.
Family Crisis Intervention, Sergeant Balzac.
I'm calling from Paris. I have a son who's home alone.
Has a child been involved in a violent altercation with a drunken and/or mentally ill member of his immediate family?
No.
Has he been involved in a household accident?
I don't know. I hope not.
Has the child ingested any poison and/or any other object has become lodged in his throat?
No, he's just home alone.
And I would like somebody to go over to the house
And see that he's all right, just to check on him.
You want us to go to your house just to check on him?
Yes.
Let me connect you with the police department.
No, they just transferred me to you.
Rose!
Yeah.
Hyper on 2.
Hang on.
Hold on, please.
No, please don't hang up. Please don't.
Welcome to episode 103 of the Monday Morning Critic. Today's guest is an Academy Award nominee. He's been in just about every classic movie that I love. He is a filmmaker, he's an actor, a director, a writer. He's done everything under the sun, and he's done it really, really well. His name is Larry Hankin. Larry, how are you today, my friend?
Actually, I'm quite well, thank you.
Oh, my goodness.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah, so I'm going through your life, and I heard some interviews you've done in the past, and I try so hard not to repeat everything you've done, right? So I have to ask
Okay.
you, is it and I know you're still working, you took some time off before, I realize that, but you're still working, you're doing your thing.
Right.
Does it ever get old when people tell you how much your work means to them? Or, I mean, especially around the holidays, because you're in 2 of the best holiday movies of all time. So when people tell you about Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, or people tell you about Home Alone, does it ever get old for you, or is it still a compliment every time?
It's an interesting question. How do I react to it? It's very nice to have that, those compliments. You know, if somebody comes up to me and says, "Hey, I like you," and this or that, it's very nice. But I really don't understand it.
Right.
I even though I'm not a fan per se. I mean, there are people who I like and I look up to as mentors or as teachers or stuff like that. But I don't understand anything more than, wow, I really like your movie. I don't. It's a weird thing. It's a positive, but I still don't understand it.
So I mean, I've had some
Because
like.
let me explain a little more.
Okay.
That I don't see in my performances what you see or they see.
Gotcha.
I see mistakes, or I see I could do it better, or I thought, nice job, that's okay, but I'm going somewhere. You know,
Right.
I always want to be better.
Right.
So when they say, hey, that's like a conclusion, and I don't have conclusions about my work.
Right. No, I get that, and that makes sense to me. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would, the way I look at it, I'm certainly a fan, and I'm blessed to have you come on the show today. And I don't know. I always look at these classic movies, and a lot of them you're in, and I just named 2. So let's just say Planes, Trains, and Automobiles because I just said it. That is just
Okay.
like a work of art by a work of art director, actors that
Oh, yeah.
just actors like you and John Candy and Steve Martin. Like, this won't happen again. I mean, I'm sure some schmuck will come along one day and try to remake it, and it'll go horribly. But nothing will ever beat the classic. Like when people think of Thanksgiving, at least the people that I know, planes, trains, and automobiles are as much a part of Thanksgiving as the turkey and the family themselves. That's my perspective. I could be wrong.
No, I that's what I hear. That's what I see.
Yeah.
That's what I feel. So I understand what you're saying. And listen, John Hughes is incredible. I don't know if he's a genius or not, but he sure knows how to make films that are funny and are real. So I'm looking at what he's doing, and I got, oh, wow, man, one day I want to, be able to do stuff like he does. So that's when I'm looking at the film. I don't watch me, and when my scenes come up, I'm looking at, John Candy. I'm watching Steve. So, I can't touch those guys in my mind. So, it's what I'm paying attention to. Like sometimes I'll be watching a movie with a friend, or I have seen a movie with a friend, and we start to discuss it. And he's talking about, well, it was really a drag, and it didn't say anything, and I'm going, yeah, but what about the cinematography, or what about the editing? And he goes, no. In other words, I divide it up. I deconstruct things.
Right.
That's what I do, because I'm more interested in process. How did he do that? Wow, the fact that he cut from here to there was just inspirational. I would never think to cut from there to there, and he did. So that's where I go. I'm always trying to learn something,
Yeah.
Fandom does. I guess what I'm saying, I had never thought this before, but I guess fandom doesn't examine. They're not interested in process, and that's all I'm interested in. So that's where the paradigms kind of split.
No, that's a great point. And it's almost like even a professional athlete, the fan never really sees.
Exactly.
Yeah, the fan never sees the hard work that athlete puts in behind the scenes. So yeah, that's a great point.
Right.
I never really thought of that, Larry.
Well, I mean, I watch the Lakers. I've been watching the Lakers for years. So I'm watching them. And okay, so JBL, what's his name?
LeBron.
The new. LeBron. I have a tough time with names, boy. When LeBron came, so in the beginning, I could see how his process was. He was very cautious. He was very what we would call laid back or chill. But no, what he was doing was he was absorbing. He was saying, okay, how does this team work so that I can fit in with them? He's not trying to take over. He's learning. He's a learner, man. Right. So when he gets on the floor now lately, you can see the other guys up their game. So they're not thinking about, am I being as great as I can be? I'm thinking, can I be either as good as he is, or can I learn from what he's doing on the floor? It's that kind of thing, It's where your mind goes as a doer or a watcher.
Right.
Different thing.
Yeah, great point. And you had some experience under your belt while we're talking about planes, trains, and automobiles, and you play this wonderful cab driver. And do you talk about greatness? You brought up LeBron. When you're watching, say, like a John Candy or a Steve Martin, can you tell they're a breed apart? Can you tell there's something special about these guys?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, their focus is incredible. Anybody who you think, or anybody out there thinks is go of, the camera and the director, and just be in the scene. And anybody who's a good actor, all the actors, Brian, in Breaking Bad, his focus is incredible.
Yeah.
You can't break through it. Yeah, it's like you're reading a book and and a little kid is bothering you, and you just keep reading. That's hard to do.
Yeah, you're right.
Everybody who's great, no matter what you define by great, it's focus and intention. I mean, they want to do it, they like to do it, they're doing it, and they don't care about anything else right now. And I have yet to get to that diamond-like laser focus that that the good guys have, the good women, the athletes, the actors, the chess players, whoever.
Yeah, but I think you sell yourself a little short, because I think your filmography is amazing, and what you do is amazing, and I do think the quote unquote A-list, and I had an actor that reminded me very much of you on the show as far as the filmography. His name is Austin Pendleton. You guys are just have a
wow.
Yeah, you have a phenomenal. Both of you have a phenomenal filmography. Each of you struggled.
Oh, yeah.
You have admitted before that you have ADD and you struggle with memorizing lines. He struggled with stuttering. So you guys are battling.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So each of you kind of battles your own little thing, right? But
you gotta or get out of the ring.
Yeah. True.
It's if I want to do this, I gotta up my game, as they said. But Austin Pendleton, man, I've watched him for years. God, I grew up with him. I mean, on the screen, watching him.
Yeah,
he's a great guy.
Yeah, and I'd be remiss if I didn't, go into some of what you've done. You mentioned Bryan Cranston. And I said breaking. I mean, you've done some great things in the past, and you're still doing great things, which is a sign to me of greatness. Billy Madison, Escape from Alcatraz, Home Alone, Running Scared.
Cool.
And I got to tell you, the one that I missed that I loved watching you in was you were in a music video, which obviously in '86 is huge, right? Janet Jackson's What Have You Done For Me Lately?
Oh, man, yeah. I love that.
How cool is that?
Well, yeah, it's very cool, but I didn't... I think things are cool in retrospect. I mean, when I was doing it, a friend of mine was the costume lady. And so she said, hey, they're looking for somebody to just be in the background. Why don't you come on down? It's, in Hollywood, we're doing it. So I just went down, and, you had Janet Jackson. Well, she's the great sister of the great one. So I thought pretty cool. But when I got there and I was doing what I was doing in the background, I was doing what I was doing in the background, and who the heck cares?
Right.
I didn't think anybody cares. So while I was there, I was not enamored or awestruck. But now when I watch it, I think I watched it like 6 months ago. I go, holy cow, that's kind of cool.
Right.
But that wasn't what was going on when I was there. I just trying to be in the background and still be in the video,
Right.
I don't want to be cut. So
right.
I better do this good. That's all. That's all.
And I have to say, Larry, that, I don't know if you're familiar with Inside the Actors Studio and James.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a great clip when he's interviewing Tom Hanks, and Tom Hanks is talking about his experience on Philadelphia, and he's getting very emotional because a lot of the guys legitimately had AIDS and they ended up passing away. So when he watches the movie, all those guys are not there anymore. And I'm not trying to get too deep, but James Lipton countered with what I believe is why people love movies. He says, he goes, these films live on forever, right? And I think that's that's a great thing. Like when I look at your body of work, I don't know, that's just to me, it's like a walking history book. I just think it's so beautiful in some ways that your legacy has been documented and it will live on. What you've done, what you've.
Well, here's where I'm coming from is that I don't think it's my legacy. That's what I did to make a living.
Right.
That's not a legacy.
Right.
A legacy, what I aspire to is a legacy. And the legacy that I aspire to is my own work. Not in movies, my own, the stuff that comes from my brain, from inside my head.
Right.
My film shorts, to me, are more important than Home Alone or Breaking Bad.
Right.
And yet they're way more famous, and they'll go way further than probably my film shorts, But I still care way more about I have a one-man show that I do maybe once a year. I care way more about that. But so I want a legacy, but what I did and what is on IMDb to me is I was working in an office. That's what I was doing. But here's an interesting fact about the process and stuff and learning. Because I'm always on, and sometimes I did Barry a couple of months ago. I did it like the third show of Barry.
Right.
And so I played this old guy, and it was a very emotional scene, which I chose to do, and it was great that that they let me. They didn't tell me anything. They just said, "Go," just go with it. And so it was okay, but it was my choice. Where I had to do a very, I don't know if I should tell the ending. Well, anyway, I had to commit suicide.
Yeah.
Basically, I had to commit suicide.
Right.
And I had a little speech before doing that. And I thought, well, it can go either way. I can make it funny, because Hader is funny.
Sure.
And the show has, it's a dramedy. So I could be funny, and I could pull it off. But I chose, because I never did it. I don't have deep emotional scenes when I get hired,
Right.
So I thought, hey, let me see. So again, I was just going out on a limb. Here's I hadn't worked in a while in a major TV show because I had dropped out doing my own stuff, and that was my first job back in about 5 or 6 years. And I decided to gamble. I don't think that was a smart move, but hey, it was an opportunity that I don't get very often to get deep and emotional. So okay. And they had me do it over and over again because I was talking to other people, and so you have to go around. And I don't know how to hold back. If the shot is on you, I'm feeding you lines off camera. I can't really not get into it. I'll be as good as I can be on camera or off camera if I'm feeding it to you. That's just the way. And a lot of actors are like that. I'm no different than a lot of actors. But in the last take, I had done it so much, I was afraid of getting bored by the time it got around to me and all the different angles that they were doing on me. So I just, knuckled down and I said, but I can't do this much longer. I'm just getting fatigued. And in the middle of the speech, right before I killed myself, my lips started to tremble. My bottom lip started to tremble, and I was nearly crying, not, but emotionally, But my lips, and I felt it starting to tremble, and I said, while I'm acting, in the middle of the scene, while this is happening, my lips started to tremble, and I said, oh, wow, this is what, Brian must get into when he... In other words, I was so deep into the character that I started to tremble. And that wasn't a choice. That was just something else. And I thought, oh, so this is a couple of months ago, January. And I'd never... only in the committee or in Second City, where I was doing it for laughs, where you get into a character where nothing you do or anything you do gets a laugh. You get to a point on stage where the audience and you are just one person. And you get that rolling laughter. Now, you see it a lot in improv if something is going great. Just the whole scene is just funny. Right. Mike Nichols and Elaine May, it comes to mind. Right. But just in that one instance, my look. And when they said cut in that scene, they said, okay, we're moving on. That was fucking incredible. And I knew what they were talking about, but it wasn't a choice. I didn't. So that's where I am as far as my work is. I'm just trying to do my job.
But hold on.
A job that I really like.
Yeah, but Larry, but there's people, in my opinion, there's people that can't get to that point. Like that, the fact that you can get there, whether it's intentional.
It took me years of acting.
But that's my point. Like, there's most people, even after years, can't do that. Like, to me, that's so impressive that you got to that. That's there's actors that go to, you know this more than anyone. They take classes, they have tutors, they have all these, and they can't even come anywhere near that. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's lack of understanding.
Well, the good ones do all the time. Even if you don't catch it, and even if they don't get there, that's where they're going.
Right.
But I never, because that's why I'm interested in process, is that, I see, I found it myself, Now you can go to I've never taken acting lessons. I basically call myself a pretender.
Right.
I don't act. I just, tell me to be something, and I just kind of imagine it, and I be it, or I don't get the job. Oh no, that's fine. Thank you very much.
Right.
I'll call you next time. I mean, because you also, that's a great level of auditioning. I hate auditioning. I don't want to audition anymore. But if the part is right and I really want it, well, then that's what the deal is. But when you don't get a job and you think you're so great and you don't get a job, well, maybe I'm not that great. In other words, it always puts you in your place,
right?
Unless you're bankable, and then you don't give a. You don't dare.
Well, yeah, I heard you. I heard you, and you were so humble when you said this. I heard you because you're on Seinfeld, and you're so good in that as well. And you were Larry David's first choice. And I heard you say, and if I'm misspeaking here, please correct me. I heard you say when you first saw Michael Richards play Kramer, you said to yourself, because you're Larry David's first choice, but when you said when you first saw Michael Richards that you couldn't do that. Like, you couldn't come into a room and look disheveled and kind of like shake like he does and do what he does. And you understood kind of why they went with Michael Richards. Is that how you said it pretty much, Larry?
Well, I mean, you got the gist of it.
Yeah.
I didn't see Michael audition, that was something else. In other words, when I went into audition for, it was a hitman or a gangster. But I didn't really, I was young. This is many years ago. I was kind of young, so I wanted the part, but I didn't want the part, and I didn't think I could do it really well. And I was really into auditioning, but I didn't know what the hell was going on. But I sat near the door where they were auditioning people, so I could hear the other people audition. So, I'm trying to get a leg up. I'm listening at the door. I'm sitting right by it. And this one guy goes in, and I go, holy cow, that's amazing. I was listening to, and then I was the next guy, and they called me in. And I thought, I don't know why I said it, but I just said, hey, man, the guy who just came in here, and they go, yeah, he was really good. I think you should hire him. I don't think I could do it as good as him. And they looked at me like I was nuts, which I probably was. And they said, well, do you want to do the audition anyway? And I go, no, not really. Because I was so, young, experienced that maybe the guy, just by listening to him, knocked the wind out of me.
Yeah.
Or maybe I just thought I wasn't good enough to do it, or maybe I didn't want to do it. I don't know. I only did that once, and it was, long enough. Okay, so that's where you got that part of it.
Yeah,
but
okay.
Yes,
yeah.
When I saw Michael Richards in the show, because I was auditioning, there was a lot of people auditioning for it. I didn't know who got it, but I knew I didn't. But for the original. But when I saw who did get it, I had no qualms about, yeah, that's cool, man. I mean, see, I don't have jealousy. The only thing is, if somebody really is terrible and they get the job, because I try to check. Let me see who got this. And also I can learn, I see, he did it that way, and I did it the other way. One of my agents once told me a really cool thing about me in particular, and that was really great, and it cooled me out for auditions for the. He said, some people when they come in, it's their part to lose. In other words, they're looking for your type, for your height, even the way you dress and the way you talk. They're looking for that type, and you come in, and you've got the job walking in, and then you're doing such a bad audition that you don't get it. So some people, you got the audition walking in. Other people, and then he says, like you, Larry, you have to change their mind. they are not looking for your type. Not then, because I was unknown. I was a young kid.
Right.
They're not looking. You're quirky. You're just a little off. And they're not looking for that. But when you do get a job, it's because they weren't looking for you and they said, wow, this guy, let's go this way. You change their mind. And it has nothing to do, I don't think, with talent, because if they're not looking for me and somebody else they are looking for, they're going to get the job.
Right.
You know, they try to play it kind of safe. So after he told me that, I never was bothered by not getting a job. I see they weren't looking for me, and I didn't change their mind.
Right.
But after that, I never cared whether I got the job or not. It was just part of being an actor, is auditioning, and I have outgrown that.
Yeah.
I'll do it. Of course I'll do it.
Yeah.
But I'm more choosy, way more choosy, because it's hard.
Yeah.
Being rejected and stuff.
Is that an uphill battle you think you faced for a while there when you were younger? Do you think that's you had to...
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to audition. You know, I just go in and, you know, sometimes I would be over the top. Sometimes I would see them cringe, you know, from what I was doing. I think I'm acting my ass off, and no, you're not, Larry. You're indicating, you know, all that shit. But, you know, you get over it. You know, just doing it a long time, you just get used to it, you know. But
yeah.
I hear that in England, the audition process is much more respectful, I guess. I don't know, but it's different. It's not a cattle call. I don't think so.
Right. And I had to ask you because, you know, earlier we were talking about planes, trains, and automobiles, and I had Layla Robbins on last year, and I had a casting director on who did most of, her name's Jackie Birch, did a lot of John Hughes' movies. I've heard mixed things about John Hughes. Like, I've heard he's one of the sweetest men on the planet, and I also heard if you get on his wrong side, God bless you.
You were dead.
Yeah.
You were gone. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was both. I saw both sides in both shoots. Yeah, you know, in other words, I guess he wears his emotions on his sleeve. You know, however he's feeling, that's it.
Right.
I mean, sometimes I was his buddy, and sometimes he wouldn't speak to me, or sometimes I'd say, you know, what happened to John? Some crew member or something. He goes, oh, man, he got on the wrong side of John. He's gone. He was fired. And you just like that, you know. And I said, wow, you know, but he was kind of John was kind of a cool guy. Yeah, but I don't know, you know, just
and for those of you listening, Larry's talking about She's Having a Baby, 1988, which was right after Planes, Trains. So that's it's good to hear you say that, because he obviously liked you enough to put you in 2 movies. Which you know.
Yeah, but I got on his wrong side, and he never hired me again. I mean, I don't know if they followed. But no, yeah, I was in 2 movies, and then he went on to other people. Yes, a lot of actors, a lot of directors have regulars. You know, like the Coen brothers or Vince Gilligan. I mean, they just keep on going back to their own great actors. You know, John Ford had just a stable of incredible actors and, you know, co-stars, and, you know, I'm sure even townsfolk that he kept on using over and over again.
Yeah, and I mean, does it ever get to a point, Larry, where you don't have to audition, where people recognize you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Barry, I didn't audition at all. They just called me, you want to do this? Oh, no. I did audition, but it was an easy audition. I kind of think that in that particular one, I think that they fired somebody, or they couldn't find anybody, and they called me as a last-minute thing, because I was called, and then I think I auditioned the next day, and there was nobody else auditioning, just me. And I just did it once, and there was only a woman and a camera and a room and a chair. It was an empty room, and there was nobody waiting outside, you know, in the waiting room. And I just walked in, and there was a casting director there with a camera, and she said, "You want to start, or you wanted to talk about it?" And I said, "No, let's just do it." You know, thinking, well, you know, let me just get the first one out, and then we'll talk about it. So I just did it, and she said, okay, thank you. And I go, do you want to tell me, or is it okay? And she said, well, you want to do it again? I said, well, was that good enough? No, I don't want to do it again if you think that. She said, no, it's fine. I said, okay, goodbye. And then, next day I got the call.
Yeah.
Hey, you got the job. So, I mean, no, I don't mind that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, maybe it was a long drive out to the valley, but other than that, no, that was so they're all different, but a goodly more than 50% are not cool. Nowadays, I mean, I'm really an old guy, man. I've been doing this for years. Sometimes I sit in a room, I'm auditioning for people who I think I know more about this part than you do, sir. But I don't say that.
Right.
You just, okay, fine. But then again, you don't mind if you don't get it because this lady was behind the desk. It's, it becomes just part of the wall, part of the process, And I just, I've done enough of that. But I do get calls, and I don't have to audition because they know my work, like you know. It's an interesting business, It's very hard to get used to.
Yeah. And you mentioned early on, I love a lot of your early work. 8 is Enough, Family Ties, Hill Street Blues, Barney Miller. I have nothing but awesome memories with my father watching these great shows. And
I got a story about 8 is Enough.
Okay.
About the guy who's the lead of that, the guy, the balding guy. I don't know who the father of the
Van Patten.
Yeah. So I'm doing a scene with him. He finds me in the kitchen. I'm going through the refrigerator, and he just walks in, and his daughter has brought me in. I'm a homeless guy. And he just walks in, and he goes, who are you? So the way they shoot movies generally is the guy who has the biggest part or the lead actor gets the last setup. So in other words, they film everybody before they get to the star. And in that way, the star gets to rehearse his part the most. So by the time you get to the star, he's got it down. He sees what everybody else is doing, and he can, really trot out his chops. So obviously, I'm doing all the first stuff, So I'm doing it, and Dick Van Patten, right? That's his first name, right? Yeah, okay, so Dick Van Patten doesn't know his lines. He's like going up, and I'm going, what the hell? This guy's an amateur. And he's feeding me these lines. He's not in character, he's not in costume, and he's flubbing the lines. But, I'm saying my lines because I'm on camera. And they're doing 4 different setups for me. And then each time he does it, he knows it a little better. And I'm thinking, how the hell does this guy be the star of a series that's a big hit? And he's like a goof. I couldn't get it. I mean, it was just embarrassing to me. to me that I don't get it.
Yeah.
But when they turned the camera on him, fuck, man, he had it all down. It was like he just. I guess he's fed so many, semi-demi actors that he just didn't care, or he was, just treading water or whatever. Or maybe he was learning his lines. And maybe I kind of think that's what was going on.
Yeah.
He's learning his lines as he's feeding me the lines. And by the time, and I didn't say this, but now I think it, but he was betting that by the time they got around to him, he'd have his lines down, which he did.
Wow.
So I guess, and nobody in, filming that particular scene, nobody was upset that he was going up on his lines, feeding me, feeding my, so finally when they got around to him and he had his lines down perfect, I guess they all knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I was bothered. I was the only one who was bothered by it, but, Yeah. On the other hand, when I did Hey Landlord, are you familiar with that one?
Yeah.
That's one that goes way back. Okay, so I was hired as a Hell's Angel. So I show up in costume. In other words, on a TV show, generally, before the director sees you, because he's not in on the auditions, the real director. And this is Jerry Paris. He's a big, back then he was a big director. So the first time I saw Jerry Paris was on the set, walking on the set as the Hell's Angel in full costume, because you go to the costumes first. You go to set. Okay. So now he's we're doing every day, we're rehearsing every day, and all the time, he never spoke to me. Jerry Paris never gave me a direction, never told me where to stand, never anything. But he would to all the other people in the cast, either the regulars or the new people. And one day I met him at a party, and I said, Jerry, I got something. Remember when I did Hey Landlord? He goes, oh yeah, you were great. He always pinches my face when he said that. Oh, you were great. What a face. And he pinches my cheek. Couldn't stand it. But I said, Jerry, can I just talk to you for a second? He goes, yeah. I said, remember, you were director, and you directed everybody but me. Why? I felt so hurt, And I didn't think it was because I was, doing everything right. I think because you were ignoring me. What was that all about? He goes, oh, that. Well, I didn't know who you were. That was the first time I ever met you. You just showed up in this Hell's Angel costume, and they thought that I thought, Jerry says, that they had hired a real Hell's Angel. And I didn't want to tell you anything because I was afraid you'd get mad and punch me. So, yeah, that's what he told me. I said, Jerry. He goes, yeah, well, that showed me. I go, okay. So, it's a crapshoot when you show up and you're young. Those things. You don't know where it's coming from or what's going down or where it's not coming from or why.
And Larry, it strikes me, you mentioned two names before this. Like Bryan Cranston and Bill Hader strike me as the opposite of those guys, where they would help you with whatever you needed.
Oh, no. Well, you're right in that assumption, but no, that's not what happened at all. Hader never spoke to me as far as directing. He spoke to me as, it was like, oh, yeah, hey, Larry, I'm glad you could do the thing. We'll get to you in a couple of, he was just shop talk on the set. But when I got in front of the camera and I did my thing, which is this, very emotional thing, he just kept filming me. He never gave me one direction. He never spoke to me at all. He would just say, we're going to do one more, Larry. Is that okay? I mean, that's what he said, because he saw I was getting tired.
Right.
He said, is that okay? I just want to get another angle. I said, no, fine. That's cool. So there's that. Then Bryan Cranston was just almost the opposite. He never said anything to me on the set the first time I did the show. We just spoke like about other things. I said, hey, I'm writing a screenplay. Would you read it someday? Could I send it to you when I'm finished? And he goes, yeah. So I was talking about other things, not about the part, not about Breaking Bad. I was talking about my work and writing and character stuff. So the second time I came back, I did the second show. Again, he didn't say anything about acting But then, on the last shot of the day, before I was sent home, because I had done everything, I kept going up on my lines when I was talking to him. And he started to get really angry, but passive-aggressive. And he said, I think he said something like, hey Larry, let's remember your lines there. Something to that effect. You gotta remember your lines, hey. That's all he said. Just this little thing.
Right.
But it so punched me in the gut, man.
Yeah.
That I said, oh my God, because he's my hero. He is a hero. If I am a fan, I'm a fan of him.
Right.
But I study him. I'm not like a fan just because he's Bryan Cranston.
Right.
I think he's incredible. Okay. So that hurt me that he said that. But then I kept going up on my lines. Not a lot, but every once in a while. I didn't think it was untoward, but I did it again after he spoke to me. And he just got cold, man, and he wouldn't look at me during our scene. He would look away, he'd look at the junk, he'd look at the sky. So finally I got so mad that I said, just a second, can I just talk to the director for a second? And I walked off the set, and I go over to the director, and I say, hey, I don't know, am I holding things up? Am I doing something wrong? He goes, what are you talking about? I go, well, Brian is kind of giving me a hard time out there. He keeps on, I'm going up on my lines, but he's like, he won't look at me, he won't, he's telling me to remember my lines. He's just, it's uncool. And he stops me. He says, Larry, the director says, all actors go up on their lines. Fuck Cranston. Get back in there and do your job. That was the greatest. I thought that was the greatest piece of direction I'd ever got.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yes! And he's totally right, whether it's Cranston or you. Just do your fucking job, man. Don't pay attention.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably because he's not on camera. He's doing when he's on camera, So, but he's right. Fuck Cranston, fuck you. Just work on the scene. Work on your, But don't. That's. But so the difference between Hader and Cranston is amazing. But neither one of them ever talked to me about what I was doing.
Right.
Well, I mean, Cranston about going up on my lines, but he never talked to me about my character or anything like that. He just said, "Hey, man, don't forget your lines, or you got to remember your line." It was a very short little sentence, not with any anger, kind of passive aggressive, but it was. And then he didn't talk to me all the way home. We were out in the desert. It's like an hour drive back to, the production office from the desert where we were shooting.
Right.
And generally we talk, about writing. He likes to write too. He likes to direct. So we were talking about that, But no, on the way back, I think I was getting on his nerves. Because I'm very curious. I'll ask a lot of questions on the set.
Yeah.
I'll hang. I just want to know what's going on. Why did you do that? Mainly with the director. Well, why did you do that setup? Or what happened to the, blah, blah, blah. And then generally they'll tell me, or like Don Siegel would say, I don't know why. I think I'm going to get fired. They would just put me on. Well, because they see how naive I am on the set.
Right.
They'll put me on, which is very endearing from their point of view. That's why they're putting me on. Oh, Larry, come on.
Right.
But it's a weird business.
No, but you're early, and that's an amazing story. That's fantastic. And I just, your early work, it just brings back so many memories. Benson, Laverne and Shirley, and The Jerk. I mean, WKR. I mean, all these. I mean,
holy cow, man.
Yeah, I don't want to like sound too nostalgic and
No. In other words, holy cow, in that when you mention, I may write a book because I'm thinking about it. About it's called On the Set, and I have more adventures or weird confrontations or communications on a set than I do in like real life. I mean, I have stories about things pertaining to the set, like Laverne and Shirley. Yeah, like Penny Marshall loves to do shtick. She's a really funny, creative. She's more like Lucille Ball than any other actress I've ever worked with.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well,
wow.
I did. I actually did work with Lucille Ball. I did. And yours, mine, and ours.
Wow.
But Penny Marshall, she loves to create jokes. If you're working in a scene with her, she will try to make the scene funnier, and she can do it. She's brilliant. So we were working on a dance thing. I was her date in this episode, and so we were working on dance moves. We were practicing in her living room, dancing. And I dipped with her, and she said, how about if we dip and we fall on the couch? You drop me on the couch or something like that. I don't know. Something like that. But there was a lot of contact because we were dancing, And her brother was directing the show, Gary Marshall. And he pulls me to the side. He's watching us off in the stand. I mean, he wasn't directing. We were just rehearsing on our own. But I saw him watching. He finally says, can I talk to you, Larry, for a second? And he pulls me out of the rehearsal. He says, Penny, I'll give him back to you in a second. He says, what are you doing? I said, we're rehearsing for the dance scene later. So at home, we figured we'd be rehearsing dancing. So he said, I don't want you touching my sister. I go, what? He goes, none of that fooling around. Just think of something else. No, don't do that. I go, but Penny, it was Penny's idea. I don't care. None of that. And then he walks away. And he was angry.
Wow.
So, okay, I go back to Penny and I say, your brother won't let me touch you. So she says, well, okay, I mean, he's crazy or whatever. Something, endearing, but don't pay any attention to it.
Yeah.
But we didn't do the dancing thing. Or we changed it so that I wasn't touching. God knows. But, for that to happen on a set, I mean, it's weird.
Weird.
I mean, we're actors. We're rehearsing a scene. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, Gary, if you were alive, why don't you watch, HBO?
Right.
For a second.
Right.
So that's kind of silly. It was back in the late 60s, early 70s. I don't know when that was first came. But, I mean, that's crazy, but that's don't touch my sister.
Wow.
We're acting, Gary. And he loved me. It wasn't like I was a stranger. I had worked with him on other things, and he had talked about maybe me doing that one-man show. He has a theater that he was working with. So it was just that, But it's weird.
Wow.
Yeah, you work with weird people. It's maybe not that weird, but it certainly is not, average kind of directing.
Yeah, and, I wanted to ask you, and I almost feel like TV back then, I don't know if I'm being too nostalgic in saying that it's like a lost time or a lot, but I don't know, I just feel like things are different now. We have the Netflix, we have Prime and all that other stuff. But I feel like, I don't know, are we in a better place now? Or is it like a time that's lost and that'll never, you know what I'm saying? Larry, how is...
It's different. It's not lost. It's there. You can watch it.
Right.
But I for some strange reason, I think the past is prologue. The past is gone, man. I don't go back there. I have no, unless somebody brings it up. I have no memory of the past.
Right.
I don't dwell on the past or think about that was a time. Look, I grew up during Norman Rockwell time, painting stuff. Norman Rockwell and ads. Norman Rockwell paintings. That's gone, and I'm glad, and it never really existed because Norman Rockwell didn't paint the reality of the 50s. He painted the wishful thinking of the 50s.
Well said. Yeah.
So I hesitate to go back to the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s because it's all the same. It happened, and I'm here.
Right.
And I got to deal with this. And if I want to write something, I can use the past, but then I got to do research because I really don't remember it. I don't revere it. That's why I don't. It doesn't. What do you call it? It doesn't implant in my brain.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I dumped it.
Right.
I dumped it. So, unless I need it, and then I'll look it up, and then it comes all back.
Right.
You know, I mean, I don't think you can get rid of it. It's there, but you know what I'm saying.
Well, one of the things that I've had on occasion with guests is, I've had guests that teach comedy, they teach improv, Larry, can you really teach comedy, or is somebody either born funny or like one of my pet peeves, Larry, is when people tell me they're funny. Like if you're truly funny, you wouldn't have to tell me, right? Like
exactly.
But like people like Larry, it's like me telling you, "Hey, I'm a nice guy," which means that I'm really not a nice guy because I have to tell you that.
Yeah, or you have some doubt.
Right. So like, can you teach? I mean, I'm sure you could teach comedy. You could teach improv, and I can understand the mechanics of it. I can understand the foundation of it, but that doesn't. I don't think I can get funnier by that. I don't know. Am I? What's your take on that?
Here's the rule. You can't teach timing. And comedy is really dependent on the timing. So I can teach you comedy, but I can't teach you timing.
Right.
So I can teach you music. I can teach you how to play the guitar, but I can't teach you timing.
Right.
One of my best friends has a band, and he was complaining about one of the band members he's got to get rid of because he can't keep up with the time. He can play, but he's just not good with the time. So that's I've taught improv with the committee and with Second City. It's part of the teaching. It's part of the teaching that you have to teach. So if you're learning improv, you also have to teach it after a while. I mean, you don't just go out of the box, but that's part of the training. But so I used to teach it, and yes, I can teach comedy and I can teach you improv, and I can make you a fairly good, or a teacher can make you a fairly good improviser. But I can't teach you to excel at it, or maybe to get into the regular company.
Right.
Because then that's all. Comic timing is fucking incredible.
Right.
And if you watch the great ones, it's their timing. Oh, man, I just saw it. They all have it. Seinfeld and Pryor and Ricky Gervais. Oh, not Ricky Gervais. Ricky Gervais. Ricky Gervais. But there's this new guy. I think he's Cuban. I just saw him yet on Netflix. Guy is incredible.
Right.
Yeah, I've never seen him. But it's just rolling, an hour special. It was just one rolling laugh from beginning to end. And it was just comic timing. Even when he was riffing with the audience, so people would call out stuff. It was just timing. That's what's funny, that's where I'm coming from. Anyway.
No, that makes sense. And, I had somebody on, she's one of the Cusacks, her brother John and Joan, her name is Ann, and she teaches improv. Like, how do you ever teach somebody to be like Robin Williams? Like, that is, Robin Williams.
No, you can't. Come on, man.
Like, you can't even teach
somebody.
Yeah, you can't even teach a quarter of that, Larry. I don't know, like, to me, it would come across as awkward as a final product. I don't know.
But who would even do that? Who would even think that would be possible?
I don't know. I'm obviously he's probably the Babe Ruth of improv. I mean, he's always on. But like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how you could teach somebody. You're right. It's timing. It's getting a feel for things. I just don't.
Well, also, wait a minute. I think you have to have, I don't know if you're born with it, but you do acquire it at a very young age. It's a paradigm for loopholes, for a paradigm for the loopholes of logic. It's, you see something illogical. And so it's almost like poetry and yin and yang, the dark and the light, a silver dagger. Silver and dagger. Dagger can kill you, but silver is so rich and shiny, and it's the opposites. You put them together, the yin and the yang. And in comedy, it's the loophole, the what should be and what is.
Right.
It's two different paradigms that you put together in one sentence.
Right.
I can't think of an example, but that is, you got timing and the innate sense that doesn't compute.
Right.
The reality in front of me doesn't compute because this is what you know, and this is what you're given. And if they don't jive, you might laugh. Because laughter, again, is a whole other. There's a nervous laugh, There's an epiphanistic laugh, like, oh, I get it, haha. But there's also, just it's funny, or there's a derisive laugh of power.
Right. Right.
You stupid jerk, you're so funny. So there's a lot of different things. But what you have to see is, I guess, in a way, it's second sight is what the old word for it would be.
Right.
You see something just a little off.
Right.
The way you look at things. Now, you may not be born with that. You're born with timing, but I think you learn that things are a little off very early. Or sometimes it's a way to ingratiate yourself into your crowd.
Right. Right.
I protected myself in high school from getting beat up a lot by being funny to the bad guys.
Right.
And they protected me.
Right.
If you touched me, if you beat me up, one guy tried to beat me up. He knocked my books out of my hand, and pushed me because he thought I was making eyes at his girlfriend or something. God knows what he had in his head, which, was totally not true. Or maybe he just wanted to show off and beat me up. But I somehow talked my way out of it, or I got it, or somebody pulled him away before he actually punched me. But he threw my books down and he pushed me. And the next day, I swear to God, this is true, he came in with a broken arm.
Wow.
And I said, wow, what happened? Yeah, what happened to him? And he said, did he, fuck you around yesterday, something? I go, yeah. He says, well, he won't do that anymore.
Wow.
Whoa, okay, cool. And, Pryor took it to another level when he went to jail, man. He just kept those cons laughing.
Right.
He admitted it. He said, I was afraid of being somebody's girlfriend, man. I just kept them laughing. Yeah. So, being funny is a lot.
Yeah.
a lot on your plate that you can choose, like protection. Nobody ever talks about that.
Yeah,
except Richard.
You know who else? Pryor's awesome. You know who else is really quick too? Is Don Rickles. Very quick.
Oh yeah. Oh, quick. Yeah, he was nice there. He's in Robin Williams territory.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't even know.
That.
I just don't even know how you would, Larry. I don't even know how you would even begin to say, okay, this is what makes them. We know what makes them great, but this is.
Are you a good typist?
I'm pretty good.
On the board, you can type. I can. I'm pretty slow. Okay, so you're typing. I'm standing next to you, and you're typing away, and I go, wow, that's incredible. How do you remember where all the keys are for each finger? And you say, I don't even think about that. I don't even go there. I just type.
Right.
What I'm saying is Don Rickles. Don Rickles is about as good a rejoinder as a put-down as you are as a typist. In that, he doesn't think. He's past that.
Right.
You don't think when you fucking type where the R is. You're past that.
Right.
And that's what Robin Williams is, and that's where he is. They're past that, man. It's what do you call it? A conditioned reflex, basically.
Right.
I guess.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So he can do that. I mean, he's not working. He's just, you say that, I say this.
Right.
So it looks like magic, but he's been doing it for so long, and Robin Williams probably was doing it when he was, like Dylan says, I was doing it, right out of the womb.
That's true.
I was writing songs as soon as I came out.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's some people who do that, and some people, my personal opinion is that everybody is doing it right out of the womb. It's just stepped on and kicked out and beat out of you. By the time you're 1 or 2 or 3, you are now on daddy and mommy's trip.
Right.
But some people have good daddies and mommies, and some people just don't take that shit and outlive their violence against your creativity.
Right.
And then that's what I call it.
Right.
Violence against creativity. Well,
you've given me almost an hour. I have a few more questions if you don't mind just hanging in there for a few.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So, did you attend Second City? Were you part of Second City?
Yeah.
Now,
in Chicago.
Yeah. Now, that is considered, right, if you're into comedy, I think Chris Farley was there. I think there's a...
Hey, listen, I studied with Viola Spolin and Paul Sills. They founded the goddamn.
Wow.
I mean, that's like studying with Lee Strasberg. If you're an actor.
Yeah, right. I mean, so
yeah.
For Larry, for people that don't know, how would you describe Second City?
Wow. Well, it's founded all improvisation of the comedy kind because the Russians really opened up acting in the 1900s with what's his name? That famous Russian guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then Lee Strasberg took that and he built it into America. But Viola Spolin was the Lee Strasberg. And what she did was she taught children not how to act, but how to tell stories and act the stories out. So she had a class of young people, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, I think up until the sixth, teaching children improvisation, children's games, and storytelling. Her son studied with her. But she started to write a book about improv and set down the rules for children. And her son and her came to the conclusion that, wait a minute, I think we can get your Paul Sills college students, college friends, he was going to college, Mike Nichols and Elaine May was part of that. Shelley Berman, and he said, "I think we can open a theater and teach what you're teaching children, and I can start a theater." So it came from children's theater. That's where improv came from.
Right.
So what? Second City. And they stick to those rules that Viola Spolin. And when Viola Spolin wrote her book, I was there. She used to read us, called Improvisation for the Theater. After she taught us our Second City improv classes for the main stage, she would take us all to dinner. Or it was late, I guess, coffee, 12 midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning after the show, and read us sections of the book before she would hand it in to the publisher. So I was there at the beginning, and that book is based on her children's book, and that's where all improv in America comes from. Is that book and her.
Wow.
So Second City is very seminal. Not now. I mean, they're okay now. Buddha was Buddha, and now you got, Maharashi Budu.
Right. No, that certainly makes sense. I mentioned you were nominated for an Academy Award early on. How did that feel early on?
My work.
Yeah, I mean,
my film short.
Yeah, for a live action film short, Solly's Diner. I mean, was that kind of I don't want to say overwhelming, but was that like a nice surprise for you? That had to feel pretty
overwhelming. It was over-fucking-whelming. It was impossible. We didn't think about that. I didn't even want to hand it in. I just wanted to see Sometimes Jones, which is the character I play in that. I just wanted to see him up on a screen. I played him on the stage, in the committee in Second City, but I wanted to see him what it looked like on it. So that was the only impetus for that. Somebody said the guy who did the cinematography, he was a second camera guy, and he needed a reel, and he said, "Why don't you write something and I'll film it, and I'll have a reel and you'll have your character on film." That was all we had in mind. So I wrote something, he looked at it, and he had done a lot of movies, big movies. He was an operator. not a cinematography. So I deferred to him, and I said, okay, if you think it's good enough, then okay. So he said, it'll cost about $5,000 to shoot. And I said, well, I don't have that much money. He said, call me when you do. And he hung up. And so I saved up. It took me about 6 months from jobs and stuff. And I saved up $5,000. And I thought about the what do you call it? The Beau Geste.
Right.
I'd never made a film. I'd never produced one. I didn't know anything about anything except improv on a stage. That's all I knew. And auditioning for small parts. So I took the cash that I'd saved in a drawer, cashed a lot of checks. And I put it in a paper bag, $5,000. And I went over to his house. I remember it was 6 o'clock because he was having dinner. I knocked on the door, and his wife came to the door, and she says, what do you want? I said, it's Harry. I just want to give him this. Something about what we're doing, the film short we're making. She said, he's having dinner. Can you come back later? And I said, it's just for a second. I just want to give him this. And I told her. He said, well, I can give it to him. I said, no, I got to hand it to him myself. She said, okay, but he's eating dinner. So when he was eating dinner, he said, hi, Larry. I said, here. I just said here. That was all. And then I said, I'm sorry I interrupted your dinner. And I walked out. And then when I got outside, it was like, buyer's remorse. Oh, shit, what did I do? I just got $5,000 on his table. I didn't say why. But he called me later. He said, hey, thank you very much. Okay. And then he said, I'm getting my crew together, start rehearsing your actors, which I hadn't even thought about.
Wow.
Start rehearsing your actor. We shoot in 10 days. And I said, holy cow. So I just called some friends who are actors, 2 friends. And we shot the movie. And I said, well, he said, you got to get a director. And I said, I don't know any directors. He said, then you direct. And I go, I don't know how to direct. He said, yes, you do. Okay, they're on. And that was it. And and then we did it. So getting an Academy Award nomination with Conversation starting out like that was fucking mind-blowing. I'm sorry to use that word.
No, that's completely...
it was mind-blowing. Going from there, I don't know how to direct, I don't have the money, I don't know what I'm doing, to getting a nomination was, wow.
Yeah. I mean, and I know you said, some of the well-known stuff we talked about earlier was, going to the office, but I have to tell you, I mean, I was just telling some people that I know that are podcasters or, have shows or just about who I was interviewing you, and so many of them, you had a smile on their face because of, and I don't want to sound over the top here, but, you do touch people with your roles, whether we're talking Friends or Seinfeld or Annie or anything, it's just, that's got to feel good. I know for you, it was a job, and it opened up opportunities for your beautiful film shorts and your one-man shows that are certainly acclaimed. And it's like, I don't know, I'm just, especially around the holidays, and I don't want to get overly sentimental here, but, to see you in Home Alone, to see you in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, just because you're such a good guy, and it's just to see your face on screen, man. It's just it's a great feeling, and well, thank you. Yeah, I think the world of you, Larry. I truly do.
Thank you. It comes from family upbringing. I had a very overbearing father who nothing I did ever pleased him. So it's just, I got that tape in there. So it's very lately, in the last 10 years, because of my making my film shorts and a nomination, and I'm getting better and better roles. Yeah, I'm seeing that my father was not right all the time. And that, I am good at what I like to do, which is acting. So, it's coming through, and I'm beginning to like myself. But also, the roles are getting better. And if you get a good role and you're an actor, you just want to dive into it. It's like a swimming pool to a swimmer.
Right.
If you see a pool, you want to dive in. I don't care, And good roles draw you to them. They demand that you spend a lot of time on them. You just wanna. And bad roles, when you're beginning and they don't know you're over, your body of work, they just, you're standing in the background, or they're telling you what to do, or they're putting you in a costume you don't want to wear. But as you get better in the industry, they let you choose your costume or say or change a line. So I appreciate your compliments, and yeah, I know I'm good, and I want to be better, but I'm losing that tape. I'm starting to erase in my golden years the tapes, the old tapes of Dad saying, "You're not good enough, Larry. Do it better." Yeah, Dad, but I think I'm okay.
Yeah,
I'm cool.
Yeah, you're more than okay. You know, and I have to ask you. You know, you have a phenomenal sense of humor. We touched on being born with it or so forth. How much of it comes from upbringing, right? Because there's times in my life where I use sense of humor to get past I got a pretty good sense of humor where I use it to get past tough times or to make the best of a bad situation. Do you think you could develop comedy a little bit in that way too, Larry?
I don't know where my comedy comes from. I really don't. My father wasn't funny. My mom was very. Both of my parents were smart. They weren't intelligent, but they were smart. They never went to college. My mom probably dropped out of high school. My dad never went to college, but he was an accountant or maybe a CPA. I don't know. But he was good at what he did. But it was numbers and you know, like accounting, money and stuff. So he was, you know, the head of some accounting firm of some, but he wasn't funny, and neither I. So I don't know. I guess my Uncle Murray. Yes, I got it from him. He was my babysitter. My mother's brother babysat for me. They went traveling a lot. That's what I was with my relatives a lot.
Right.
My grandparents raised me, and my Uncle Murray and his girlfriend and then wife Blanche. And he was a funny guy.
Right.
They were both Ben. She had two brothers, Ben and him, and they were really. And they used me as a fall whatever. I mean, as a joke or a prop, as a baby.
Right.
I remember they used to throw me through the air like a football when I was like 1 or 2. That was my earliest memories. And the only reason I remember it, and it stuck in my brain at such a young age, was because my mother and Blanche, I remember them screaming in the corner. Don't you drop him. I remember. That's my earliest childhood memory.
Wow.
Was flying through the air from one, I mean, it wasn't very far. Maybe it was 6 or 7, maybe 8, 10 feet. They would throw me 10 feet.
Right.
From one guy to the other.
Right.
Just like a football. They would just hold me like a football and throw. The other guy would catch me with 2 hands. The flying through the air was amazing, an amazing feeling. And the screams of 2 women standing, I remember even seeing them in the corner. Saying, "No, stop, you'll drop." So, you know, they would stop, and then when they would leave, or if they weren't here, my uncles were just babysitting me. They would do other things. So I think they thought it was funny. They thought it was hilarious throwing a baby through the air. That laughed, wait a minute. And my grandmother, yes, my grandmother had an incredible sense of humor. See, it all comes back. I don't keep that stuff. I think we're talking so much that it finally comes back. My grandmother, my mother's mother. Yeah, on that side of the family.
Yeah.
My mother's mother.
Yes. She
was hysterical. She had me in hysterics, too. I mean, she would just make me laugh. It was just amazing. So, yeah, that's where it came from. So, laughter to me was a way of communicating. And so you just keep it.
Right.
So, yes, in that way, if you would see that laughter was a way of communicating, because at home there wasn't much communication, then you would just kind of bank on that, you know, when you're 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and growing up. But that's a crazy way to get a sense of humor, you know, by being denied that at home and getting it somewhere. You know, it's kind of weird.
His name is Larry Hankin. Larry, thank you so much for coming on the show today. You made my day, and I can't thank you enough.
Okay, cool, man. Hope to talk to you again.
Yeah.
Okay. At some point, I can't talk about it, so I'm glad you didn't ask me what I'm doing next. I am doing something next, but I can't talk about it. I had to sign an NDA, non-disclosure agreement.
Right.
So I can't. So in about 6 months or down the line, you'll see something that I'm in that's kind of big. So, yeah, I would maybe before, when they announce it or something like that, yeah, if you want to talk to me again, that would be a time when I have something coming up.
Ooh, perfect. Now, are you able to say, Larry, if it's TV or movie related?
I can't say anything about it. I signed something.
Okay. All right,
But you're the only one who knows on public that I got something coming up. I can't even say that to you, really, except I haven't mentioned anything about it. And the other thing is, I will also talk about the past because you seem quite accurate about your research. So thank you.
No, thank you, Larry. I really appreciate it.
Okay, take it easy, Larry.
Take care, Larry.